Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Today I have Neil Mcdonald with me, and I've been on Neil's tours, which are part of the Megalithic Tour.com, which we'll advertise again at the end of what you do. You take us off around the country or other countries to look at megalithic sites. Thank you, Neil, for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. Well, we thought we'd talk a little bit about the lockdown and perhaps what spiritual development or advisement, that kind of thing. So Neil, tell me, how's your lockdown going?
Well, first of all, I want you to notice that I've had my hair cut.
Oh yes, how did you get
that?
I
mentioned it. I went to Preston Town Centre to Tony and Guy's, and they had one place left, so they've done a good job. You had to sit outside, and they had a 2-metre long hair pliers.
You're
and
kidding.
They've done a good job of it. Do you like it?
What if they accidentally cut your ear off? Obviously they didn't. That's great.
No, they did a good job, yeah. So I was out in the streets, 2-metre long pole. Excellent.
Because this is like the first day of the ease down, so I suppose they're allowing that kind of thing to happen.
Yeah. I did it myself, really.
You had me going. So gullible. You've done a fantastic job. Maybe that's something to take up of.
It could be a sideline.
Yes, a sideline. Megalithic tours and a bit of a haircut.
Megalithic haircuts.
Yeah.
Make like the ancients.
So now that you've done some of your own self-pruning on the old hair, do you feel better in yourself?
Absolutely better, yeah. The lockdown, terrible for some people, different for other people, but I didn't have a good one. I've got to say, I did not have a good one. I mean, I think I spent a long time with Churchill's Black Dog, to be honest with you. And Dark Night of the Soul. It was bad. But down in the valley is not a bad place to be if you're going to start a journey, is it really? That's where all spiritual journeys begin. So
have to go upwards.
I think it became upwards, absolutely, yeah. Climb out of the valley and learn your lessons, basically, I suppose. But I think we actually had a discussion, didn't we, at one point? Anyway, we talked about connecting with our Christ Centre. And I think when you're down there, it's what you need to do, isn't it, really? Well, I certainly did. And to me, it's the Tithrath, the central, the Kabbalistic tree. It's the centre of the Kabbalistic tree, the pillar of equilibrium, the middle pillar, and right in the middle of that as well. So it's dead centre, and it's did me a lot of good. It really did. It just changed things altogether straight away. All of a sudden, I became optimistic, and it cured me, really. It was a wonderful thing.
Because obviously for a lot of people, they wouldn't know how to do this kind of thing. And a lot of people want to try and work on themselves, but have no idea where to go or, need guidance. So maybe you could perhaps explain a little bit more about that?
Well, absolutely. When everybody has their own method of meeting with their particular God, I like the idea of Gnostic belief, but not an actual Gnostic, but the idea of creating your own relationship with the divine, and that's what I've tried to do over the years. But I've used the Kabbalistic method, hence I talk about the Kabbalistic tree. The Tiferet again is halfway down between Kokma, which is God, and Malkuth, which is the earth here, and they call it the son of Kokma and the father of Malkuth. So it's right in the middle, and that's any exoteric belief systems can't rise above that. So it's kind of your way through. You're the only difference between exoteric and esoteric, where exoteric is like a normal belief system, and esoteric is like the hidden or the occult, the ancient wisdom teachings. So that's your way into the divine, really. And I mean, there's also many other ways to do it, but that's the one that I've used. It's only that's only, what can I say? So God, okay, we're going to talk about God.
Yeah, and we don't mean God standing in, you know, an old boy with a beard sitting up there in the heavens. It's whatever you think your God
Well,
is.
exactly, yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, the Old Testament called God Lord. Okay, very, very, very bad translation, because the revised edition called Jehovah. Now that's a lot better, really, because the actual name of God was Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, the Tetragrammaton. So, and Jehovah.
I am.
Exactly, yeah, yeah, which is yeah. So Jehovah is just putting the vowels in between the Hebrew 4 letters. Yeah, it is that which was, that which is, and that which will be. So it's that. It's not her or him or a her or a person. It's that. So what you're looking at there is, it's what in the green, the tablet, the emerald tablets of Hermes, called the Prima materia. So it's kind of everything that's around us, inward, outward, everything, the table, the computer, the chair, the sky, the trees, everything is like a different shape of that prima materia. That was the kind of idea of it. So that is one aspect of God. You've got like the message of the gods. So you've got Hermes and Mercury and Thoth for the different traditions. So it's not really they're the gods of magic, aren't they? But they weren't really messengers for the gods. They were messages into this prima materia, this substance. So they were kind of not a message, but can't think of the word, but they would move into that prima.
The energy and the force of what it is.
Yeah, a force into this prima materia to change it. That's which is, I mean, all magic really is changing the prima materia. So if you've got any magical ritual, as you will know, is just the idea of concentrating the thoughts down to one particular place. So you're entering whatever thought you've got and try and focus it into the prima materia to make some sort of change. Like you would have a magnifying glass. The sun's really hot, but if you put a magnifying glass and over a leaf, it'll set leaf on fire. So that is a ritual. The ritual is the magnifying glass forcing your attention. But those three, or that aspect of God represented by those three gods, are only a part of the deity. But it's the deity, part of the deity that you can use. So if you're looking at like the Egyptian tradition, where they say they've got loads and loads and loads of gods, well, they haven't really. They've just got one god with lots of different aspects to it. Like, for instance, yourself. You're a daughter, you're a worker, you're a friend, you're an owner to your dog, you're a customer if you go in a shop, but there is only one Debbie. So what I'm saying is I deal with that particular aspect, which is the magic aspect. And that's the Hermetic tradition. And the Hermetic tradition is very much associated with the tarot. And the tarot is the tool. The tarot is the tool system, really.
Because some say the tarot came from the Egyptian system, you know, the Book of Thoth, that it was originally devised out in the ancient Egyptian times, and it's just come through over the centuries. I think it was rediscovered maybe medieval times. I'm not particularly sure.
Well, there are different ways of interpreting the tarot. I mean, the history of the tarot that I kind of think's right, but I don't know it's right. I mean, I know that I've heard that many times as well. That could equally be as right. But I think it went back to the libraries of Alexandria, where the adepts from all around the planet would meet, and there's adepts from all the different traditions, or the people who followed the ancient wisdom teachings, and they would meet in Alexandria which the library started in 283 BC. The Pharaoh Ptolemy.
Yeah.
So yeah, massive place, and they used to meet there and discuss the ancient wisdoms. And then that moved after the libraries were burned. By 640 BC, with the Islamic invasion of it was the Caliph Omar. By then, between the end of the Roman Empire and 640 AD, everything moved to Fez, which was then the scientific and therefore spiritual, because then it was the same thing, capital of the world.
Morocco.
Yeah.
Morocco, yeah. Okay, I'm just checking.
Yeah, Morocco. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
And it was at that point that they decided to come up with a method of writing down the ancient wisdoms in a form that everybody could understand, for one, because it was going to be in pictorial form, and two, that it would go straight through the conscious mind into the subconscious. So anybody who didn't have the teachings, by right, should be able to just concentrate on the tarot and learn the ancient wisdoms through the subconscious. And then it went underground. It was in the ancient mystery schools for a long time. And I think it was discovered by Eliphas Levi eventually in the mid-1800s. And he wasn't discovered, he brought it out of the mystery schools and started teaching it. And then you've got Arthur Waite and McGregor Matthews and Blavatsky, and they all started learning and teaching the tarot themselves from there. So that's where I think it came from. But my actual teaching method came from a guy called Paul Foster Case. I don't think you've ever heard of. Have you heard of Paul Foster Case?
Well, I know a little bit about him. So I know he's an American, and that he's the founder. I knew him as the founder of the Ageless Wisdom School, but I know he's also a founder of another one. I don't know how you say it. Builders of the
Adytum. The Adytum.
Okay, so
Builders of the Adytum.
About him.
The Adytum. Yeah. Okay. Well, so Paul Foster Case was. Let me think. When he was born in New York City in 1884, died in 1954. He was a high Freemason. He was also the Grand Master of the Golden Dawn for the whole of America and Canada. Then in 1922, he resigned that job and started his own mystery school. And that was the Builders of the Adytum. The Adytum is the inner, you know, if you've got the temple and they got like the inner place of the gods. That's the Adytum.
So like the Holy of the Holies.
Yeah, the Holy of the Holies, but his Adytum is your own inner Adytum, your own Holy of Holies. So you're building your inner sanctum. So that's where that's Paul Foster Case. Amazing guy, and I've been following his teachings for many years. Obviously, there's many other ways of learning the Kabbalah and the tarot, but I love his teachings. I was led to it many years ago, and I stuck to it, even though I have to say.
That's what I like about this kind of thing. There are many, thankfully, in around that period, many teachers started appearing and coming out into the public for those that want it. You know, they weren't, you know, it's not rule and you do it this way. It's for those that want it will come to it, and thankfully there's many different ways of doing it, but they're all really teaching the same thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
In a slightly different take or in a different order. So did he design his own tarot deck?
Sorry?
Did he design his own tarot deck?
He did, yeah. It's based on the Rider-Waite pack, but it's with lots of details added in. Because the Rider-Waite pack is a little bit like they've taken away certain triggers. So the BOA voter pack is with lots of triggers in it, if you know what I mean. It's because that's what it is. That's what it is, basically.
A bit like the Aleister Crowley's Thoth one. His is
that's it.
His has got lots of what you call triggers in it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, because, well, Alistair Crowley was a tarot master in his own right, wasn't he? I've tried to read his tarot books, but hard to read.
Yeah.
But I managed to get through things like the Kabbalistic. What was?
The Kabbalistic.
I can't remember now. Forget it. Move on.
Not Crowley by Waite. Was it Waite? No, McGregor Mathers.
Oh yeah, we've been through so many things in the past. I'm trying to think of the Mystical Kabbalah.
Oh.
That's right. That was what's she called?
Unfortune.
The Unfortune. Yeah, I thought that was hard enough, but then I went on to. I thought I'll try Crowley now. No. I think he tried. I think he wrote in a way to confuse you anyway, didn't he? That was I think he did that on purpose.
Yes, because he really wanted you to work at it yourself, which is, I think, quite true. I know it's there for people to learn from, but it shouldn't just be given to you. Here it is, here's the answers. You should really be pondering it and working on it so that it goes, like you said earlier, about it going past your consciousness and into your subconsciousness, or wherever it is.
Well, absolutely, yeah, because that's where the work's done. But I suppose if you look at kind of the anatomy of the tarot, then just to explain how I see it, it's going back again to the tetragrammaton, the 4 letters, because that's what it's all particularly designed by, or around. So you've got those 4 letters here are given for worlds. So the first one is the archetypal world. The first letter represents the archetypal world, and in the archetypal world, you've got some sort of all root ideas or notions. So you might have, I don't know, like a piece of meat. So you think, well, I really could have read that piece of meat into 2 pieces. How on earth am I going to do that? You see, this is the process of magic as things progress. Second one, the creative world, is where ideas become more specialized. So then you think, I know what we could do. We could get something very sharp, and we might be able to cut it. And the 4th letter is, do you like this knowledge?
Yeah,
Just making up as I go along.
Third letter.
The 3rd letter is the formative world. So you think, I know what we'll do. If we get a big long piece of slate, or now a big long piece of metal, and put a handle on it, we'll be able to cut it. And the last letter is the material world, where you actually make it. You stick it on the table, so there's a knife. So, and that's creation. That's the sort of the way that. So that is the Prima materia working through from a notion right through to a physical thing that exists. And if you look round at everything, every single thing has gone through that process, really, hasn't it? That's been made. I've got a building site just here next to me, and I suppose at some point somebody thought, well, that quarry's been full for 20 years. Wouldn't it be great to have something on there that people can use? So somebody said, well, let's build a little estate with shops and houses. Okay, I'll draw it. And now they're actually building it. So it's magic.
Yeah, because as you say, everything is a process, and magic is
everything's a process. Everything's magic. It's just a case of doing it.
Yes. And the magic about magic is that it's the will going into that idea that then drives it along.
Absolutely, yeah. So the idea is that if you can pinpoint if there's something you want, or even basically a broad idea, really, that you can focus, I want something of that broad idea, then you should be able to make that happen. And I suppose the more adept you become, the more you're supposed to be able to make things sort of occur, really, aren't you? But in the tarot itself, you've got the 10 sephiras, going up the Kabbalistic tree. And each sweet, or it's not sweet, is it? Each type, what's it called? Suit, not sweet, suit. Suit.
You're thinking about your dessert after your dinner.
Oh, I don't have any. I wish. I had all those magnums from Morrison's yesterday. All of them. I had them all.
And in one go.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah, only one go. Yeah, let's mix them together. So those are the 10 in each of the sephiras. There's the 10 aspects of creation going up the tree, but it's not those that I work with. I work with the major arcana, or which is those picture cards from 0 to 21. So there's 22 of them, and they've all got a Hebrew letter and number, and it's that process. And I suppose everybody who's listened to this will have heard of the journey of the fool. And it's those major arcana cards really that take you through it.
Because
And you
those
can even
major
put them in a
arcana cards,
circle.
oh, sorry, go on.
And so you can even put them in a circle and work around them that way as well.
Oh, I was about
Because
to say, it's like a story, isn't it? Because you start off at the fall, and it's a development through the cards, and at the end, hopefully, you've become the universe. But it's like and it's not just a story for yourself; it's a story of how everything's created, which is what we're discussing, from Prima materia to the finished product. But things are never finished, because then a new cycle starts.
Well, yeah, yeah, it is. It's a journey that you go through. It's a spiritual journey as well as a physical journey, blah, blah, blah. But it's, they say you start in the valley, which we've all pretty much been. And they say that you get to the mountain, but then you go down into the valley again. But your next valley is never as deep as the previous one. And then you go up, then you get to a higher peak. And so it's kind of like that, really. So that you never go back down to the start, even though it did feel like it a couple of weeks ago, I've got to say. And then end up right on as high as you can possibly get.
Because you can get stuck in certain parts of the little valleys as you go up and down. And, you know, it's finding the incentive to move yourself on. And sometimes with this major arcana, it's showing you the next stage, isn't it, of what you're aiming towards.
Well, it is, yeah, definitely it is. And you can get stuck. And personally, I was, but sometimes it's getting down in that dark valley, the dark night of the soul, is the kick that you need to get you going again. And maybe this will happen to a lot of people. Maybe they will use this as an incentive to start on their next spiritual journey. And I'm hoping it will be, because the way things have been, I think we need it.
Well, I think this lockdown has woken lots of people up, or made people start wondering, well, what is all this that's going on? What's happening to me? And maybe they're all a bit confused and need a little bit of guidance. So if they did get a tarot deck, it'd be something perhaps they'd meditate on, or look at each picture. And like you were saying before, if you look at it, you don't get the answers straight away, do you? But it's a help. It's a handy tool.
Absolutely is, yeah. And they say you're only supposed, it's the major arcana, I think, would be the ones to look at, just work your way through. But they say to look at them for 5 minutes, no less and no more. So, because by then it's going to, but that's my teaching, but that's my that I was taught. But but that's not very difficult, is it? Really? You just get one card and look at it for 5 minutes. There's a lot more difficult things in the world to do. I think even if people do, as long as they got because obviously there's lots of tarot decks that have been just drawn just because they look good. So you've got to get one that I would say use the Rider-Waite pack and work through maybe one major arcana for a day. Just look at it for 5 minutes. Don't think about it. When you look at the card, don't think about it. Don't judge it. Don't translate it. Don't say, oh, look, he's doing this, he's doing that. Just let it go straight into your subconscious. Try not to think anything. And then go on to the next day. And you know something, it's going to trigger something off in you. I really believe that.
Because I think some people have I think for a long time now, misused them for fortune telling, when they're not really. They're a teaching tool, like we were saying. You're not getting them to go and find out whether you're going to meet your next partner or get the next job or things like that. This is to help you develop yourself, because the important thing is to develop, like you were saying, bring yourself out into your true self, work on your spirit, your soul, and your willpower. And these are guys to help you do that, not to tell you whether to, I don't know, what people ever do with their tarot cards these days when they ring up the tarot lines to get their fortunes told. It's not necessarily about that, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, the tarot was a book, basically. And all they've done is they've taken the binder off the side of the book, made it into playing cards, and now they use it as a divination method. And that was not the idea at all. No, it literally was a very, very serious way of passing on the ageless wisdoms to the next generation. It's kind of, I'm sure that there would be they would inspire people to, for fortune telling, all that sort of thing. But that's not what they're for at all, no.
And I think for a lot of people, they might not realise the fortune telling, that's like an exoteric way, like you were saying about earlier. this world, but to study them is the esoteric way.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's when you start studying them as well, the world of the tarot opens out in ways that you would never, ever, ever understand or never believe until you've studied it. And there's a tarot tableau that you can put 3 cards together to do certain small journeys, and the numbers that you can use, and they're all related to a specific Hebrew letter as well. So it's really tied into the ancient teachings. But it's a massive subject, and I think maybe we could, if you wanted to, just maybe do a few of the keys on a different video. What do you think?
Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Yeah, that'd be a good one to do. Yeah. I did want to ask you, because you brought up about the Gnosticism. If people were interested in Gnosticism, maybe you could quickly, or not quickly, in your own time, explain what Gnostic views are.
Well, there are people that are actual Gnostics, but I'm not part of any Gnostic organization. If you go back, the Essenes were Gnostics, weren't they? So, so there's been a tradition of Gnosticism that goes back into times where we were never even, back into infinity. And there are even families now that are part of that lineage of the Rex Deus families. But the idea is that rather than having a person being in charge of the religion that says, okay, this is what you're going to believe, these are our teachings, blah, 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 listen to all of them and do it. Gnosticism is your own, it's knowledge. The name Gnostic is knowledge. So you work on your own connection with the divine and build up your own personal belief system that's not being given to you by anybody else, because it's such an important thing to have your own belief system and connection. So why let somebody else do it for you? It's like, so I'm okay because I went to church and the vicar or the priest or the rabbi did this and that and that and that, and so that's sorted. But it isn't really, is it? I don't have to do it. He's done it for me. And so it's nothing really personal then, is it?
Which is what it should be, a personal connection, a personal relationship with your God or goddess or whatever it is you want to believe in.
Well, absolutely, because we are all part of the divine anyway. So if we're going to move on in this learning classroom thing we have here, which I think it is, it's a school. So if we're going to learn our lessons, then those are where our lessons are going to come from. And if we fancy going through life and not learning anything and not moving on at all, it's a waste, isn't it?
Well, we are lazy, us humans, aren't we?
Oh, well, I am, yeah, definitely, yeah. You've got, yeah, you do it. But I think sometimes you will move on and you'll move up, you'll learn your lessons, but then maybe it is better to rest for a while before you move on. Or maybe I'm just making excuses for myself.
That does happen. I've noticed it myself in my own path and with other people. You've got to a certain level, you've got to digest it, haven't you? You've got to take it in. And then when it starts getting stagnant and you have the will to want to move forward again, something happens, doesn't it? Either new knowledge comes, or someone gives you a poke, or something gets you going again. But it is, okay, doing it yourself, you've got to push yourself, don't you?
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that if you do learn something spiritual, you've gone through a spiritual experience, it takes a long time for that spiritual experience to become part of your person. It's got to become part of you, hasn't it? There's no point in learning something if you don't make it part of the way you are. And it sort of takes a little while to actually sink into your psyche. And every time that you do this, I think you become another person. Well, I know you, I look back and I don't know that person who I was months ago, never mind years ago. So who was that? What's all that about? Weird, isn't it? Yeah. So God knows what I'll end up being like at the end.
But a lot of people want things to stay the same. I remember the saying when I was a teenager, the leopard never changes its spots. And I used to think, but I don't want to be the same person. I knew deep down because you have a calling for this, don't you? And I knew there's more to life than that, you know. And if you want to do the same thing throughout your life, that's fine. And you know, good on you. I'm not putting you down or anything, but it's not my way. I can see there's more to life than Joe Bloggs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just because I have to say, just because I do something, I mean, the one thing I'm not is evangelical. I have no interest in telling anybody what to do. That's part of sort of the Gnostic point of view as well, I suppose, because I don't want, if I say something to somebody and then they say, well, I don't believe you, that's fine. You know, that's good. It's all right. You know?
But this is why I wanted to do these podcasts during this lockdown, for people that do want to do something but don't know where to go. You know, these are just little encouragement things to hopefully to set people off and find a way that sorts out their lives and puts them on a better path.
Well, I think we're going to need it, aren't we? I mean, things are pretty strange out there at the moment. Who would have thought what's happened would happen? I mean, we were on a megalithic tour down in Glastonbury, and then we went to Avebury or the different sites, and suddenly, bang, locked up, gone. And we had to go home and isolate. It's like, where did that come from?
Because you was actually, like you say, you was on the tour, you was at the hotel, wasn't you? You come back from your day trip, and they were saying to you, no restaurant or something, wasn't there?
Yeah, we were in the hotel in Glastonbury, and I had a shower and came down, and they said, oh, we're closing at 9 o'clock, we're in lockdown. What? Hang on a minute. I only went up for a shower. So we managed to get to the Italian for the night, which was fantastic. And I went into the King William pub in Glastonbury. Strange that King William. No, I won't go into that one, should we not?
No, not now.
I'm sure people will know what we mean, but we'll move on from there. Yeah, and that was sudden. And then, and the amount of control that's being influenced over people, it just isn't right. And I don't know where it's going to leave everybody. Mm-hmm. The amount of fear as well. Fear is such it's evil, really. The opposite of love, really, is fear, isn't it? So everybody's walking around terrified. And it's people need a way out.
And that's what a lot of this teaching is all about. I do direct some people that maybe aren't interested in the teachings is go and watch the Star Wars movies. And, you know, like Yoda used to say, fear takes you to the dark side. And turn it round.
People are on the dark side. You can feel it when you go out to the supermarket. You know, there is fear in the air, and I just hope it filters out itself, because it's not healthy.
Yeah, it does feel like we are in interesting times, and I'm really not sure where things are going to go. But then at the same time, I'd like to think this is perhaps a changing point for people, and maybe humanity is going to have some kind of wake up call or whatever. Or for those that want to wake up, this is an ideal, opportune moment. But sorry, go on.
No, you say, you're right. As we said right from the beginning, once you've been down in the valley of fear, the dark night of the soul, that is the time. That is an absolute opportunity to grasp hold of your spiritual side and go on a wonderful journey. It couldn't be a better opportunity.
And talking of journeys, because obviously your tours all had to sort of, many of them be cancelled because of what was going on. I was supposed to go to France on the CAFAR tour with you.
Yeah.
But you've set up a new tour list ready because it's the Freedom Tour. So you're going to start running your tours again soon. If people were interested in coming one of your megalithic tours, where would they go to look it up?
Simply on the website, megalithic-tours.com. I've put all the new, from the 1st of August, so I've still got a couple of months for things to settle down. And hopefully from the 1st of August, I have a timetable then to the end of the year. So have a look, and please do come and join us. We do have some wonderful times, don't we, Debbie?
We do, yes. I'm with you in the summer, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm having a little look at your Knights Templar one. That I think you're going to do in November, and I think we should do a show one day on the Templars, if that was okay.
That's a thought.
Give us some other subjects if you ever want to hear anything else that Neil or I could talk about. But I'd like to thank you very much for this first of our hopefully many shows, and we've got some ideas for other ones. So thank you very much, Neil, and stay on the line while I switch us off. People go to Neil's website. I have my website, debbie-elliott.co.uk, and thank you for listening. And thank you, Neil.
Thank you very much. Thank you.